What's going on, guys? Phil here for Phil's Craft Corner. Today I want to talk to you about how I recommend painting your laser cut shapes. Specifically these laser cut shapes which I have cut out for the Great British Ghost Hunt of 2021, and we go from that to this, and I'll show you the paint I use and the method I go through just to quickly and easily paint your shapes. This will apply for any kind of laser cut shapes, and there's other variations such as these which use different materials other than paint if you didn't want to use paint. So stick around, we'll talk about the Great British Ghost Hunt and I'll show you how I paint these. So the Great British Ghost Hunt is a Facebook page and an Instagram page which is set up by a lady called Kate Paxton. Now this was set up to encourage people to get out, to go and have a walk and to bring a bit of joy to people through Halloween. It's set up very similar to the Rainbow Walk which people did through the first lockdown here in the UK, and the idea is basically you go out and about and you take pictures. You can collect some of these ghosts and take them home and hang them somewhere to decorate. You can decorate your own ghosts or your own spooky items and you can share them around and just have a lot of fun and get people out and about. And honestly, over the past couple of weeks since I've been part of this group, there's been a lot of people decorating ghosts, making spooky items, they've been painting on card, but it's been doing all kinds of stuff, and it's been absolutely amazing to see all the creative ideas from all these people come together, and just it's been a great little community to be part of. Now I will share some pictures of some of the creative ideas that people have had at the end of the video, so stick around and have a look for those. I'll show you whereabouts these things are being hidden, so if they're in your local area you can head out and you can possibly take a picture. You might be able to pick one up to take home and treasure, and you can join in with all the fun. Now these little ghosts, I have probably sold about 1,000 to the group. I'm selling these at a very special price for them, really reduced price. It's pretty much material cost, and I'm donating my time really for them. And it's been great. Watching the way people have decorated these has been awesome. So I thought I'd make a video just to outline the way I would recommend painting these and make it as simple as possible for people. Now there's several ways you can decorate these, and I'm going to talk through the different paints that I'd use for these and the way I'd do it if I was decorating a lot of them. I'm not going to have the time to decorate them because I'm just going to be cutting these out constantly and sending them because people are really enjoying them. And I'm enjoying the fact that people are decorating them and I'm loving seeing their ideas. So let's get into it. I'll talk you through the paints I've used and the method I use just to decorate these three little ones. There's 3 different types of white paint on these, so I'm showing you the differences between those. One of them costs a lot more than the other 2, and it does show in the final result. So a few things you're going to need are some ghosts, obviously, to paint. These ones are spares where the edge of the material wasn't lined up properly from the cut, and it didn't cut quite right compared to the rest of them, so I'm just using them as spares and they'll be perfect for this video. Maybe some sandpaper. This is just 400 grit wet and dry. It's just to smooth off any rough edges around these edges, just in case when they've come out of the sheet from the laser, some of them do have a little bit of a splintered edge where it didn't quite cut through. Just very rarely, in case I miss those. Some wet wipes for the surface. So as you can see just on the edge here, sometimes you get a bit of shadowing from the residue where the laser's cutting, and that can interfere with the paint, which it definitely will be on the edges. I do give all these a quick wipe over with the wet wipes before I send them out, but sometimes if I'm in a major rush there's a few little spots where they can be missed, so just having some baby wipes, any kind of wet wipe really, will get any residue off the surface of these. Again, you can use the sandpaper to do the same thing and smooth it off. Some paints. I have a selection of white paint here. I have some Perma White from Zinza. works really, really well for painting MDF shapes, and you get a really nice white base matte finish with these. You can get this in silk, but the matte works much better. I also have a big tub of vinyl matte emulsion. Vinyl matte emulsion is amazing for MDF shapes. It gives you a nice base and gives you pretty decent coverage, and it doesn't soak in as much. And just as a comparison, I got a small tub of a tester pot. This is frosted white, and it's almost white, because you can't buy brilliant white in tester pots because there's no point in them selling tester pots in brilliant white. They might as well sell them in big tubs. But if you're only painting a few, these tester pots are brilliant, and this is closest to brilliant white that I could find in the store. If you do need to buy a big tub of white, I recommend going for the vinyl matte and then just decanting it into smaller tubs like these, and then just using it as and when needed. It does last a while, and it does go a long way. And for extra detail, I have these paint pens. Now these paint pens are from The Works. These are their equivalent to Poscas. If you've never seen one before, it's basically like a felt tip, but it's acrylic paint. Has a ball in there, just shake it up, dot it a few times, and then the paint just comes out like a felt tip and gives you a nice finish. It just for a little bit of detail there, and it dries very, very quickly. Like, that's dry already, but it's paint rather than felt tip. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear all this off, and I'm going to paint each one of these with the different types of white I have here, just so we can see the difference between them. And quite obviously we need some paintbrushes. This is just a collection of paintbrushes that I have, and I've had these for a number of years. This one in particular I've had probably about 5 years now, and very recently I learned about what's called a brush comb, and that stops this happening. What happens is inside, just here, you just get a build-up of paint, and it's really, really hard to clean out, and you can feel it. It's starting to happen a little bit with this one. I've had this one maybe 2 years now. But these brushes are all acrylic brushes. They're designed for acrylic paint, and these give the best finish for me. They're my preferred brush, and obviously I have them down into like small detail ones for getting into tight spaces. And yeah, so for this I'm probably just going to use these three, because I'm just doing a flat paint. I don't need the detail from these ones. I'm just going to use these three, one for each one, and then clean them all out together at the end. So I'll just give these a quick wipe over with the damp cloth, making sure to get all the edges, because that's going to be the worst part. As you can see, there's still some residue on there, even after I've given these a wipe out straight out of the laser. And it's the residue that's going to cause you issues, if anything, because it'll mix with the paint. So just let them dry fully before you start painting on them, so you don't water down your paint. That'll make it a bit more see-through than you want it to be. I would mix up the paint. This is a fairly old tin now. I've had this for around a year or so, and with all old tins of paint you get some residue along the edges here, and it just builds up and starts flaking off. So just be careful of that, and just give it a good stir. I don't know if you can see this, but while I'm stirring up the sides here, there's a clear bit of paint, just up the sides here, there's a clear bit of paint, and that needs mixing in. It's the anti-mould on these paints, and you just want it all mixed in. Any kind of chemicals or anything that they're putting in there, you want it all to be mixed properly, just so you get that pure brilliant white. And I'm just using an old laser testing thing. It was just to test how well the engraving went on beech wood. It was just something that I had spare. So that is mixed really well. So we'll just put that to one side. And I'll just take this middle ghost because it's the one that's mostly dry, and we'll start painting. It's very, very strange me doing this behind a camera and not the usual way, so I apologise if angles are a little bit wobbly and not quite in focus. So the first thing I do is the edges. Just a nice coat along the edges. Sorry if I knock the camera while I'm doing this, because my eyes are focused on the painting and not where my hands are going in relation to the camera. So that's one edge. Sorry, I went way off there. So that's one edge painted. Like I say, I'm not used to this at all. So that's good coverage on there. And then with your fingers, you can wear gloves for this, but I'm used to getting messy while I'm doing this. Just pinch like this and run your fingers around the top and bottom, and this will clean up the paint from both sides, top and bottom, and stop you getting a build-up of paint on that area, and leaves a nice smooth surface on the top. So yeah, like I say, if you want to wear gloves, you can wear gloves. If you don't, then that's perfectly fine. As you can see here, if you can see, there's a little bit of a bit sticking up. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get my sandpaper, just going to rub that lightly, and I'm going to smooth it off with my finger. That's got rid of that burr. So there we go, that's nice and dry. And then we'll get the rest of the paint and then paint the front or the back, however you want to do that, and then go all the way over the top. The engravings on these are fairly deep, which, as you can see, the paint doesn't go in there fully. You can see where it is. So just go over that as smooth as you can, nice and gently, both ways, up and down and left and right. That'll get you decent coverage. And then just pop that to one side, and then we'll paint the other two while we're waiting for that one to dry. Each one of these I will give 2 coats of paint just to make sure they are fully coated. Okay, so all 3 of these are now dry and ready to be checked out. So this is the Perma White from Zinza. As you can see, that's covered really, really nicely all over the edges and all across the top. Lovely matte finish on there. Like I say, you can get this in silk. I don't know if it works as well. I prefer the matte for most things. If you needed to put silk over the top, then you could go over the top from there. This is the vinyl matte, and I don't know if you can see that on camera, but around the centre here I can see some brush strokes and still kind of see a little bit of the material below. The edges are not as white, especially down here. You can see a little bit there and on the edges, but again, really good coverage on there from 2 coats. And surprisingly, the frosted white, just standard emulsion, did a little bit better than the vinyl matte. It didn't cover in here as well, but that's okay because we're going to paint these black. The edges didn't cover as well. I've not bothered painting the back because you're not here to just watch me paint all day. So there's a little bit on the edge there and further around there. It's possibly where I was gripping it to get the paint done, but I think on the surface the frosted white standard emulsion did a little bit better than the vinyl matte, which I'm quite surprised at. It left a smoother finish as well. The Perma White, the mold resistant, left an absolutely amazingly smooth finish. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show these paint pens. I'm just going to use the black one and I'm just going to colour in the eyes. So you want a scrap piece of paper. This will do, because what you need to do, especially on first use, is you need to shake it up, open the pen and then press down. You'll feel this pop. I'll get a brand new one which I don't think I've used before. Stay. The orange, pretty sure I've not used the orange yet because there's not much use for orange apart from at Halloween, which this is the first year I've done much for Halloween, so it's brilliant. So as you can see, there's no paint on there at all. It's perfectly dry, and when you press it down it's kind of firm and then you'll feel a pop. So there's nothing there, so you need to keep pressing until you see it's starting to go down the nib. So second press there, and now we're ready to go. Do not hold these down, do not press down and hold, because the paint will flood out of the tip and go everywhere and it's a nightmare. So there we go, that one's ready to be used. But like I say, I'm using the black for these ones. The black's ready to go. As you can see, there's paint all over that tip there, nice and shiny. So I'll try and get in close, do this best I can. The engraving will really help here. Just use the engraving as a guide, and if you don't get good coverage, give it another spot. And there we go, I've got a little bit too much on there, and then we'll go around again and around. And there we go. That's why you don't press too hard. If you do press too hard, just give it a shake over your scrap and that'll get rid of the excess, so you don't end up with horrible blobs, which I will, because I am not very artistic. That's a lot on there. Hopefully this one comes out nice, because this is my favourite one and I want it to come out nice. So I'm going to gently, very gently fill the middle and then let the paint flow to the edge of the engraving. Nope, there's a lot there. So we will let this flow to the edge. Ah, one dot. Now we'll let them dry. Because this has come out of a paint pen, it does dry very quickly. If you wanted these to dry quicker, you can use a hairdryer, but like I say, if you're batching these out, then it's not going to be that much of an issue. If you don't have the paint pens, obviously you can use a tiny little brush and just dab a little bit of paint on there and go around. So there's several other ways you can decorate these. If you don't have paint, if you're letting kids do it and you don't want them to be messing with paints, you can use chalks and just colour them in that way. Nice and quick and easy. Just like so. The only problem with chalk is this will rub off and come off in the rain. So that's one downside to chalk, but if you don't want the kids messing with paint, then they can use the chalk. You can use normal wax crayons. And wax crayons don't tend to show up as well as the chalk or the paint, but they do a pretty decent job and it's still an option you can use. And you can also use pencil crayons. Which again, if you didn't want to use paints or pencil crayons were all you had, you can use them, they work well. So the black paint on these are still a little tiny bit wet, but as you can see, it turns out pretty decently. So even though these aren't perfect, these will serve really well for the Great British Coast Hunt. Alright guys, so hopefully that helped you decide which method of painting these you wanted to go for. As I say, you don't have to paint them, you could use some of the other methods, like the chalk, pencil crayons and crayons to make something like this, and it's a lot less messy for the kids. Of course, if you really wanted to, you could just lay these out and spray paint over the top if it's going to make things a lot easier for you. Now, as promised, I will show you some of the amazing and talented designs that people have come up with. There's so much creativity in this group. It's become my little happy place of Facebook. In the evening, I scroll through and I have a look at the designs that are on there and the creative ideas that people have come up with, and it's absolutely mind-blowing, some of the stuff. So I apologise if I keep looking down at my phone, but I want to get people's names right and the designs that they made and the location that they're from. It's quite important that you can go out and you can find what these people have made, and just to say thank you for making something great, and it looks really cool. Taryn Gouldsborough, which is perfect name. I'll write the names down here and you can see what they are. So Taryn Gouldsborough in Manchester, York and Glasgow, I'm assuming you're sending these up to somebody to hide for you in Glasgow, has glittered some of the ghosts that I have sent out for using body glitter, and they look absolutely amazing. They've got a little bit of ribbon on there to hang from trees and stuff. So if you see one of these ones in that local area, that's who you need to thank. We've got Tony Bradshaw, who is hiding these needle felted ghosts in the Tunbridge Wells area. These look absolutely amazing. I've always wanted to have a go at needle felting, and this is brilliant. It looks really good, really cool. You could pick some of these up. I think they're going to be in little bags just to protect them from the weather, and you can take one of those home with you and hang it on display in your house. Nell Wilson in Dundee, Scotland has done a little bit of painting and made a 3D sculpture. This thing is absolutely amazing. She's done a couple of these and it looks really, really, really cool. This is the video that I'm actually looking at and it's brilliant. Chantal Gatehouse has painted up these slices of tree trunks or tree branches, and she's going to be hiding them in Leeds. Kim Sharp is hiding these Casper ghosts around the East Yorkshire area. So if you find one of these guys, be sure to take them home, because that is what they're for. These look like they are cookie cutters, and she's pressed them into some clay and baked them and let them harden. They look really, really cute, and they're really cool, so have a look out for those. Tracy Compton has done a wide variety of painting. She's ordered quite a few of the ghosts. I'll put her order up here. She's took a picture of the whole lot. She ordered large, giant ghosts, some tiny little ones, some earrings, and some of these standard ones as well. She's going to be painting them up, and she's going to be leaving them out in the Northamptonshire area. She's also painted some wooden discs and various other items, which, as you can see, she's very, very talented with the way she's painting them. I can't wait to see how the little ghosts that you ordered from me are going to turn out. And all these things are going to be hidden around the Northamptonshire area. Last but definitely not least is the lady who set up the whole group and whose idea it was, is Kate Paxton. Now she's going to be hiding her ghosts and her designs around the whole area, and she has gone absolutely all out with this. I love every single one of these. It started off painting little bits of cardboard, and every single day she's posting something new that she's painted. She's very, very talented. They all look really super cool, and I can't wait to see all of them out in their environment. Now, if you did want to join in with the Great British Ghost Hunt, I'll leave links down below to their Facebook page and the Instagram, and use the hashtag #TheGreatBritishGhostHunt2021. I really can't wait to see the pictures of everybody's ghosts and spooky items out and about in the streets, in windows, hiding in trees, in woods, absolutely everywhere. I can't wait to see what people are finding, and it's so great. It's such a great community spirit, and I hope some people join in. Like I say, I'll leave links to what they are down below, their Facebook page and their Instagram. So head over there, check it out. Even if you don't feel like you're really great at designing things, draw a picture, put it in your window, print something off from the internet, colour it in. Just do whatever you feel comfortable with joining in. If you don't want to share anything like that, head out yourself and go and hunt for something. Share some of the pictures of the things that you found on the Facebook and Instagram, and it's going to be great. It's going to be so much fun, and I'm going to be out there myself with the kids, and we're going to be hunting down some ghosts and spooky things. Speaking of the kids, I made some slightly larger ghosts. These aren't as large as the one as Tracy ordered, but these were going to be the large ones. Obviously somebody has to go bigger. These ones are going to be decorated in a special way. There's a super cool way of painting things, and it's really bright and colourful, and this is the idea that I'm having with these ones. Hopefully it turns out great. I'm going to do a bit of testing, but I'm certainly making a video on that, so keep an eye out for that one. And other than that, I will see you guys on the Facebook and Instagram pages, sharing all your spooky ideas. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next video.